Hello, dear friends and lovers of furry companions. Have you ever noticed how your cat looks through you, as if you were transparent? Or how it demonstratively walks away when you call its name? Or perhaps your fluffy friend just continues sleeping, seemingly not hearing your attempts to get its attention? If these situations sound familiar, you are definitely not alone. Today we will dive into the amazing world of feline psychology and figure out why these mysterious creatures sometimes so stubbornly ignore us. If you are interested in better understanding your four-legged friend and establishing a truly close relationship with it, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. After all, understanding the psychology of pets is the key to harmonious coexistence with them under one roof. Let us first figure out, do cats really ignore us, or are we just misinterpreting their behavior? What we perceive as ignoring might actually be completely normal cat behavior. Unlike dogs, which were domesticated specifically for close interaction with humans, cats have retained much more independence and self-sufficiency. They do not constantly strive to please their owner. It is simply not in their nature. When a cat does not respond to your call or turns away, it is not trying to offend you or show its superiority. It is just behaving like a cat. This may seem like ignoring from a human perspective, but for a cat, it is a natural way of existing. To better understand the reasons for the seeming indifference of our furry friends, let us look into their evolutionary past. Domestic cats descended from Middle Eastern wildcats, solitary hunters that did not live in packs and did not need constant social interaction. Unlike wolves, the ancestors of dogs, wildcats did not hunt in groups and did not rely on social hierarchy for survival. The process of cat domestication began about 10,000 years ago when people started farming and storing grain. Cats came to human settlements on their own, attracted by rodents feeding on grain reserves. This was a mutually beneficial cooperation, not a purposeful selection for sociability and attachment to humans, as with dogs. Therefore, genetically, cats still largely remain independent hunters, for whom social interaction is not a necessity, but rather a pleasant addition. The feline language of communication is radically different from human language, and misunderstandings often arise at this level. When it seems to us that a cat is ignoring us, it may simply not understand what we want from it, or it may be expressing its feelings in a way that we do not recognize. For example, slow blinking in your direction is not indifference, but a display of trust and comfort. The cat is saying, "I trust you so much that I can allow myself to close my eyes in your presence." And when your pet sits with its back to you, this is also not a sign of disdain. In the cat world, turning your back to someone means the highest degree of trust, because in this position, the animal is vulnerable to attack. Even when a cat pretends not to hear you calling it, it actually hears you perfectly. It is just that, in the cat world, there is no concept of coming at the first call. Dogs were bred to follow commands, but cats always decide for themselves whether it is worth responding. Cats are territorial creatures, and personal space is critically important to them. When your pet goes to another room or climbs onto a high shelf, it does not mean that it is avoiding or ignoring you. Most likely, it just needs to be alone. In nature, cats spend most of the day alone, hunting or resting, and domestic cats have retained this need for solitude. Studies show that even the most sociable and affectionate cats spend about 60% of their time away from their owners if they have that opportunity. This is not a sign of bad relations, just cat nature. Moreover, respecting the cat's need for personal space can make your relationship even better. When a cat knows it can be alone when it wants, it feels safe and is more likely to seek interaction with you on its own initiative. Like humans, cats have different characters and temperaments, and this greatly affects their sociability. Some cats are naturally more social and constantly seek contact with humans, while others prefer to keep their distance, only occasionally showing affection. Breed can also play a role in this matter. Siamese, Burmese, Maine Coons, and Ragdolls, for example, are known for their sociability and attachment to humans. These breeds often follow the owner around the house and actively demand attention. On the other hand, Persian, Russian Blue, or Norwegian forest cats are usually more independent and may seem more detached. However, you should not draw conclusions based solely on breed. Each cat is unique, and even among representatives of the same breed, there can be a huge difference in behavior. In addition, character is influenced not only by genes, but also by early socialization experiences, living conditions, and how the cat was treated by previous owners if it was taken from a shelter. Sometimes apparent ignoring can be a signal of health problems. If a usually sociable cat suddenly became detached and began to avoid contact, this is a reason to be alert. Many diseases, including arthritis, dental problems, thyroid issues, or even cognitive dysfunction in older cats, can cause changes in behavior. Cats instinctively hide pain and discomfort, so instead of obvious signs of suffering, you may only observe detachment and apparent indifference. If your pet has become less sociable, stopped jumping on high surfaces, changed eating habits, or started spending more time in secluded places, it is worth showing it to a veterinarian. It is especially important to pay attention to sudden changes in behavior. If a cat has always been independent, this is probably just its character. But if an affectionate pet suddenly started avoiding contact, this could be a warning signal. Early socialization plays a huge role in shaping a cat's attitude toward humans. Kittens who had positive experiences with humans during the critical socialization period from 2 to 7 weeks usually grow up to be more friendly and sociable. They better understand human gestures and are more likely to seek contact. If a kitten had limited contact with humans during this period, or even worse, had a negative experience, it may grow up distrustful and detached. Of course, even an adult cat with a lack of early socialization can gradually be accustomed to contact with humans, but this requires much more time and patience. If your cat was taken from a shelter or from the street as an adult, it is quite possible that its apparent ignoring is simply a consequence of a lack of early socialization. In such a case, it is important to give the pet time to get used to you and not impose interaction until it is ready for it. How can you attract the attention of a cat if it seems indifferent? The main rule is to do it in cat language. Instead of loudly calling your pet or trying to pick it up, try techniques that correspond to the natural instincts of cats. For example, play is a powerful tool for establishing contact. Cats are natural hunters, and a toy that mimics the movements of prey can be irresistible even to the most independent cat. Interactive toys, feather wands, or laser pointers can awaken the hunting instinct and create a positive association with your presence. Another approach is to use food as a connecting link. Many cats become more sociable during feeding time. You can use treats not only as a reward, but also to create interaction rituals. For example, give a small treat each time the cat comes when called. Over time, it will associate your voice with something pleasant and will respond more often. There are many subtle signs that your cat is not actually ignoring you, but on the contrary, showing affection in its own special way. For example, when a cat lies near you, but not right next to you, this is a form of social interaction. In the cat world, being in the same space but maintaining a comfortable distance is a sign of trust and affection. Another subtle signal is when a cat chooses places with your scent for sleeping, such as recently removed clothing or your side of the bed. In this way, it surrounds itself with your scent, which for cats is a way of maintaining a social connection. Even if your pet does not sit on your lap, it may express attachment simply by being in the same room or watching you from a distance. Cats are natural observers, and close attention to your actions is their way of being part of your life, even if physical contact is minimal. Often, we ourselves, without realizing it, provoke cats to ignore us with our actions. One of the most common mistakes is intrusive attention. When we try to hug and pet a cat against its will, it learns to avoid such situations in the future. Another mistake is inconsistency in communication. If you sometimes give the cat a lot of attention and sometimes completely ignore it depending on your mood, this can confuse the pet. Cats value predictability and routine, so stability in communication helps build trusting relationships. Also, many owners misinterpret signals of feline body language. For example, when a cat exposes its belly, this is not always an invitation to pet. Often, it is just a manifestation of relaxation and trust. If at such a moment you grab the cat or pet its belly, it may perceive this as a violation of boundaries and next time prefer to keep its distance. If you want to improve your relationship with a cat that seems detached, start by creating positive associations. Let your presence always be associated with something pleasant: play, treats, a calm environment. It is also important to respect the pet's personal space and its right to decide when it is ready to interact. Instead of chasing the cat around the house in attempts to pet it, allow it to approach you on its own. Create a comfortable environment where the cat has safe places to rest at different heights. Many cats feel more confident observing what is happening from above. Enrich the living environment with scratching posts, toys, and shelters. A happy and stimulated cat is more likely to seek social interaction. And remember the power of routine. Cats love predictability, so regular play sessions or grooming at the same time can become a pleasant ritual for both of you. Interestingly, cats can relate differently to different family members, and what seems like ignoring may simply be preference. Studies show that cats often choose their person based on many factors: who feeds them, who plays with them, whose voice and scent they like more, who respects their boundaries. Sometimes cats are drawn to the calmest family member, or to the one who least tries to get their attention. Paradoxically, people with cat allergies often become objects of special attention from these animals, perhaps because such people less often try to pick up or pet the cat, which cats interpret as respect for their space. If your cat shows preference for another family member, do not take it as a personal offense. Just observe their interaction and try to adopt those elements of communication that your pet likes. Feline communication is a true art of subtle signals, and often what we take for ignoring is actually an active form of communication. For example, when a cat sits with its back to you, but the tip of its tail slightly twitches, it is actually talking to you. Light twitching of the tail tip in a relaxed environment often means interest and positive emotions. Or when a cat lies nearby and blinks in your direction, this is its way of saying, "I recognize you and trust you." Even if a cat does not respond to its name, it most likely recognizes the sound of your voice and distinguishes it among other sounds. Studies using audio recordings have shown that cats often show signs of recognition when they hear their owner's voice, even if this is not very noticeable externally. They may turn their ears toward the sound source or change their breathing rhythm, although they may not give obvious signs that they hear you. A relationship with a cat is always a two-way process, and sometimes we just need to reconsider our expectations. If you hope that a cat will behave like a dog, constantly following you, instantly responding to commands, and demonstrating exuberant joy when meeting, you will most likely be disappointed. Cats express attachment more reservedly and on their own terms. This does not mean they love less, just differently. When you begin to appreciate a cat for what it is, not for what you would like it to be, your relationship can reach a new level. Observe your pet, learn to recognize its unique ways of expressing attachment, and respond to them accordingly. Your cat may not sleep on your lap, but its way of being near you can be no less special and meaningful. In conclusion, we can say that cats do not ignore us intentionally. They just communicate and interact with the world in their own way, in accordance with their evolutionary history and psychology. What we perceive as ignoring is most often a manifestation of their natural independence, need for personal space, or even a special form of trust and comfort. Understanding the feline language of communication, respecting their needs, and a patient approach to building relationships, these are the keys to making your cat more responsive and sociable. And remember, when a cat chooses to be near you, it is always its conscious decision, not an instinctive necessity, which makes such moments especially valuable. What do you think about this? Have you ever felt that your cat is ignoring you? What methods have you found effective for attracting its attention? Share your stories and observations in the comments. Perhaps your experience will help other owners better understand their mysterious pets. If this video was useful for you, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more quality content about our four-legged friends. Turn on notifications so you do not miss our next video, where we will talk about the secret language of cattails and what all these waves, twitches, and wrappings actually mean. In the meantime, observe your cat with love and understanding, and you may discover that it pays much more attention to you than you thought.